Assalamu alaikum dear students. This is the 7th lecture about tenses, and we have started present indefinite tense. In the previous lecture we talked about how to make present indefinite tense the positive sentences with I, you, we and they. And today we are going to talk about how to make negative and interrogative sentences with I, you, we and they, which is way different from making the sentences with he, she, it and singular noun. So let's get started. So with I, you, we, they and plural noun, if you want to make negative sentences, you have to add do not. You have to use do not. And if do you remember, like with he, she, it, with he, she, it and singular noun, we added does not. Do you remember that? In the previous lecture we talked about it, like with he, she, it and singular noun we used does not, but here you may know the difference, like I, you, we, they and plural noun, what do we use? Do. And so we are not going to use does here with I, you, we and they. So we will use do not, like which can be contracted as don't, and plus first form of the verb. In positive sentences we also use first form of the verb, and I told you what is first, second and third form of the verb. In the previous lecture we discussed that. And then we can add the object at the end of the sentence, and you have to end the sentence with a period, with a full stop. Most of the students forget to put full stop and forget to start a new sentence with a capital letter. Don't forget that. So let's start it. I tell the truth. This is positive sentence. What is it? This is positive. I tell the truth. This is positive. This is something, this is a statement. This is something that I am telling someone. And if I want to negate, if I want to say no, I am not telling the truth, so what will I say? I do not tell the truth. Where do I have to add the don't or do not after I? I don't tell the truth. In the same way, you call me every day. This is once again positive sentence, and this one was negative. You call me every day. And if you want to say no, you don't. So you don't or you do not call me every day. This is a negative sentence. Okay? Once again, this is negative. This was one was positive and this is negative. And we attend the class. We attend the class. Statement once again, positive sentence. And this is the negative. We do not attend the class. With I, you, we, they in plural noun always use do not. With he, she, it and singular noun always use does. What do you have to use? Does not. Don't forget this. This is the huge difference between I, you, we and they, and he, she, it and singular noun. So let's move towards the next sentence. They respect their parents. They do not respect their parents. Children play in the ground. So what is it? Play. And this is positive sentence in which we use first form of the verb with children, which is plural noun. So if you want to make negative, you have to use do not. Children don't play or children do not play in the ground. This is how we make negative sentences in present indefinite tense with the pronouns I, you, we, they and plural noun. This is so simple. You can try making your own sentences. Until and unless you try to make few of your own sentences, you are not going to learn it. Try to make some of your own sentences. And the language or the English of speaking is not different from the language of the written language. So you have to follow. I have seen this thing, I have observed this thing most of the time, like the students, if you tell them that the structure of the sentence, they understand it and they write well, but when it comes to speaking, they make horrible mistakes. So if you're speaking, if you're writing, in both these cases, you have to follow this structure. This is grammatically correct structure, so you have to follow this. And so let's move towards how to make interrogative sentences. Interrogative, interrogation, asking someone, asking questions. And if you remember, in the last lecture we talked about there are two ways of asking questions. Questions with auxiliary verbs and questions with auxiliary verbs, or we call it helping verbs as well. Auxiliary verbs and helping verbs, and questions with WH words. So we are going to talk about, questions with auxiliary verbs, and which are also called yes-no questions. And I told you last time, why do we call these yes-no questions? Because these questions can be answered in a yes-no way. You can answer like, are you okay? You can say yes. You can, and if you don't feel okay, so you can say no. So that is why we call these short or yes-no questions as well. So let's check how do we make these interrogative sentences. This is not interrogative. This is interrogative. How do we pronounce it? Most of the students, mispronounce this. Interrogative. Okay. So not interrogative or something else. So what do we have to do? We have to bring this which is helping verb. We have to bring it in the start, and this is what we did with he, she, it, and singular noun as well. There we brought does in the start, and this is what you have to do in the next tenses as well. You have to bring the helping verb in the start of the sentence to make it a question, to make it interrogative sentence. So, do I tell the truth? Okay, and sometimes there are students I know who, like, when they are writing I, they go for small I. Never ever try to make this mistake. This is a horrible mistake. Don't avoid this. If you're writing a simple or independent pronoun I in the middle of the sentence, it must be capital. Okay, why is it capital? This is a long story. I'm not going to talk about this, but you don't need to write this small I. Avoid this and always go for capital I. So, do I tell the truth? This is a question, asking somebody something. So, the next question is in the same way. This is, do you call me every day? Do you call me every day? This is once again, what is it? Interrogation. And how did we make it? We brought the helping verb in the start of the sentence. This is how we do. This is how we can interrogate. This is how we can make interrogative sentences, by bringing the helping verb in the start. Try making some of your own sentences. Try to use few verbs in the sentences. Try to make positive, negative, interrogative sentences, and try to make sentences with he, she, it in singular noun, and then in the same way try to make sentences with I, you, we, and they. Only then you will understand it, and you will be able to use it. Otherwise, this will be just waste of time, and you don't have time to waste. So let's move toward the next sentence. Do we attend the class? Do we attend the class? Look at this. We attend the class. What do we have? We do not attend the class. And if you want to ask question, so you have to put this helping verb right in the start of the sentence. So, do they respect their parents? Do they respect their parents? Once again, we have this auxiliary verb, helping verb here in the start of the sentence. Questions with WH words. The way we make, these are interrogative sentences, and these are called yes-no questions because these can be answered in yes-no way, but these questions need an explanation. You cannot answer these questions in yes-no way. So for example, why do I tell the truth? Yes. If I answer yes or no, do you think it's correct? No, it is not. It is not the proper answer for this. So why do I tell the truth? You need to tell me the reasons. It needs an explanation. So I talked about WH words in the previous lecture as well. So what do you have to do? You have to put this WH word. It can be when, it can be where, it can be why, it can be how, it can be which as well. So you have to put all these WH words right in the start of the sentence. But you have to keep this thing in your mind. You have to put this auxiliary verb right after this WH verb. If you put it somewhere else, it will be a mistake. So this is how you have to do this, and you have to end this interrogative sentence with this question mark or sign of interrogation. We also call it sign of interrogation. So try making few of these sentences as well, but try when, where, why, how, which, who, whose in the sentences. So this is how we make negative sentences. This is how we make interrogative sentences with auxiliary verbs, and this is how we make interrogative sentences with WH words. I hope you don't have any problem with any of these. In the next lecture, we will go for a test, and if you... Thank you. See you in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz. Bye for now.